absolute delight and an honor to welcome you all on behalf of CII Institute of Logistics. Thank you for taking the time out today to be here with us. I can tell you that we have an exciting set of panelists and speakers, and your day is going to be well spent. So as we launch the 19th edition of this Automotive Supply Chain Conference, the theme for today is an interesting one. It took me a while to just wrap my head around, what the theme was, and it was something like untangling the spaghetti of revving up innovation, the digitization of the ecosystem, and of course the AI-powered service. Many of us can relate to it. So, as we proceed through the day, we will hear some thoughts that probably will reaffirm what we believe, some thoughts that may change our point of views, and some that will threaten to change our point of views, but we will say we are okay with our own point of view. So all three possibilities exist. It is also my pleasure to welcome today some very, very distinguished speakers. First up, I would like to welcome Mr. Shailesh Rajput, Joint Director from the Directorate of Industries, Government of Maharashtra. Mr. Rajput is based in Pune, handles the Pune region comprising of 6 districts. And what he does is very interesting. One normally refers to the government machinery and says, pretty much simple stuff. But trust me, whatever little I've known of him, what he does is very challenging. He's responsible for implementing the schemes of the government to facilitate industrial development. Now, this requires implementation across all the districts, not just of the policies by way of making the infrastructure available, incentivizing the different stakeholders, but it is also about making sure that the feedback from the different stakeholders is collected and channeled back up the chain for meaningful decisions and policies to be framed. So thank you for joining us, Mr. Rajput. We also have Mr. Vinay Kanulkar, a very experienced industry expert. He has been with the Mahindra Group, over 25 years of experience, a master in handling production operations, employee relations, and aftermarket business. He's also in the past handled, has had a stint with Crompton Greaves being a CEO. So thank you, Mr. Kanolkar. Look forward. And then moving from one automotive cluster of Pune to another automotive cluster down south, Chennai, Dr. K. Ganesh. Again, a renowned personality. His voluminous work speaks volumes for itself. If you don't believe me, imagine someone writing more than 200 articles with renowned publications. Being on the editorial board of multiple publications, 5+ publications, being on the review board, we name it, he's been there, done it, and will have a lot to share with us. He works with McKinsey based out of Chennai, is the lead for a partner and a global lead for supply chain. So thank you, Dr. Ganesh. It would be very remiss on my part if I did not take this opportunity, to talk about CII Institute of Logistics and the good work that they've been doing. The Institute is really a collaborative platform that brings together all stakeholders, bringing together the policymakers, the industry, the academia, also the participants by way of aspirants, employees, professionals associated, with a very simple aim of skilling people with skills that are necessary as the supply chain world evolves, right? Look no further than this panel, as a proof of this pudding. You have people from the policy-making division, the industry, the academia, uh, as well as, professionals representing all different groups. We all also know that supply chain plays a very important role, a pivotal role in the growth of any economy. No economy works without the movement of goods and services. So to move these goods, supply chain sector is right at the forefront. It's known as the bellwether of any economy. And as we in India move forward towards our goal of, the aspirational goal of $7 trillion by 2030, there's no doubt in anyone's mind that, the supply chain sector will have a significant role to play. Given this vision that the country has, CII has launched initiative which is Logistics for All. Now, what is this initiative about? This initiative is about bringing together all the stakeholders on a single platform and then working towards making the vision of India being a global hub a reality. Now, what happens when India becomes a global hub? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out. It'll give rise to tremendous opportunities, job creation, opportunity for people to grow, develop into different leadership positions. And this will happen not just in the automotive space, but it will happen across all industries and across the geographies, and many of these geographies will be outside of India as well. So there is a humongous opportunity waiting in front of all of us, and that is what the Institute of Logistics at CI is helping with. As a part of this initiative, CI's, the Institute of Logistics, has been launching several programs, and there are 2 programs that are lined up for the next 2 months. So in the month of April, I think it's the 25th, that we have the program on warehousing, improving the warehousing competitiveness. And then we have a global supply chain summit, again in Mumbai, in the month of May. My request to you all will be to show some love for these initiatives. Spread the word around in your social and professional networks so that people who can potentially benefit from these workshops are able to participate. And we kind of make it a circular economy where we learn and we contribute back. So request for everyone's support to take this forward. Now, coming back to the theme of today's presentation and the conference, what we're seeing is in the supply chain space, things are changing. I've been around for a while in this space, and I can tell you that supply chain brings up all kinds of emotions, all kinds of description. Some being less flattering, some being very flattering, right? But we've used to being talked about not necessarily in a very flattering context. But that seems to be changing. People are now pivoting as far as supply chain is concerned and evolving their strategies to look at supply chain not just as a cost center, but to look at supply chain as a business enabler. Now supply chains are being looked upon, being called upon to help businesses grow. Now we at TVS, when we are talking to customers, we are experiencing that. Now earlier the conversations used to be, give us a solution and give us a price. And naturally, when one talks about a price, one is talking about the lowest possible price. No guesses, no surprises there. But now the conversations have shifted to saying, what can you help us do to improve our market share? What can you help us do to improve speed to market? So the discussions are now about helping us modernize the distributions for finished goods, help us improve the satisfaction, customer satisfaction in the aftermarket spares. So those are very pivotal shifts that one is experiencing in the supply chain world. We're also seeing a lot of changes in the political environment, especially what's happening across the globe. We've had a little more than a fair share of topsy-turvy announcements coming from the far west. And everything is having an impact. And guess what? Which are the functions that are having to react. Right now, many of these reactions are very short-term and almost a knee-jerk, whether it has been the Red Sea crisis, the political developments, all of these have been immediate reactions that have been called upon. But moving forward, increasingly more strategic shifts are required. Shifts that will require we in supply chain having to deal with greater intricacies, greater complexities. We in supply chain having to look for greater collaboration, and maybe even collaboration in areas that have not been explored in the past. We in supply chain will have to really look at ideas from across the globe, from across industries, for those to be cross-pollinated. And when you look at automotive supply chain by itself, all of this is there. And then on top of it, there is a little tectorial shift that's happening. There's something called EV. Just about everyone is now talking about the EV. And mind you, while it's getting a lot of press, the fact is EV is still a very small portion of the overall businesses. So imagine people in the automotive supply chain having to deal with carrying on with the existing supply chains because you've got your existing business to take care of, and then there is this new baby that's come up on the scene and having to take care of that. Not only that, this new baby that's coming up is also being threatened from different parts of the world. You talk about China, there's a different way they handle it. In India, the expectation is different. There's been recent news of Tesla, different expectations. So there's a whole lot of requirement and magic that, if I may say, that is being expected from the industry. I would hate to be in somebody's shoes right now, and the gentleman is sitting here. So when I would hate to be in your shoes right now. But we'll hear more about what the plans are. So on that note, I want to kick off the day's proceedings. The day's proceedings are really split into 4 sessions. We will have inaugural sessions where each of these distinguished speakers will have an address, followed by 3 different panel discussions. The panel discussions are obviously coming from the theme for today. So we'll have a panel discussion that will be talking about revving up the innovation. What are the future strategies that one can look at? How do we decode the digitization? What's the secret sauce? And then finally, AI-powered service. So how does one integrate the tech part? So on that note, if I can request Dr. Ganesh to join us and kick off the proceedings. Sorry, just one more thing. Before you guys start doubting me, there's a fairly liberal sprinkling of breaks as well for you to be sure of getting your cup of tea or coffee. And most importantly, network and connect with people on a one-on-one basis. So please, I'd encourage you to reach out to whosoever, including any of us. Look forward to an exciting day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Rajesh. Thanks for setting the fire. It will actually glow now. Mr. Rajesh, Mr. Vinay, Mr. Shailesh, Dr. Bhanumati. Very happy to share the dais. 19th edition, I think very glad to, looking forward for the 20th, let's celebrate. I think the speciality of CAI is look at industry by industry, function by function. I think that's where the great. I think good. Today you said about the theme, right? I think the theme is actually a nice theme. One is 3 things, right? One is like innovation, other is the digitized ecosystem, and then AI-powered service. I think why this is being taken today, I think at least I was also deliberating myself. It's almost how do we untangle the spaghetti? Spaghetti is a noodles where everyone do some innovation, everyone do some bit of a digitization, but how this can be like the right way of doing it, right? See, I'll tell you what's happening today in the industry very quickly. I'll take 15 minutes to kind of close my overall speech. 10:40, I'll close it. I think, Rajesh, otherwise you ring the bell, I'll probably speed up. See, everyone can digitize, okay? Digitization is something like you actually want to kind of digitize your planning, your logistics, your warehousing, whatever it is, right? That is fine. But how do we do an innovation in the process, innovation in the product, innovation in the overall setup? That is very important, right? So digitization is like, it's a core in the middle, but innovation has to come before you kind of go into digitization. That is a process, product, or system, whatever it is, right? And once that is being done, how do you kind of add the flavor of your AI, Gen AI? That's where I think these three themes are very important. Digitization, everyone can do it. How do you kind of make the digitization effective with the right process innovation, product innovation, and how do you kind of spice it up with the right AI and Gen AI? I think if we're able to kind of match all the three, then the supply chain can go to the next level. That's, I think, the game plan today. Yeah. My intention for today is, I think I always bring a different topics, now or never. That's it, right? So, if you don't think about the reimagination in your auto industry now, I think it's going to be late, right? That's a concept. So reimagine your auto industry future, which is very important. My intention is to kind of cover in three aspects, exactly as the theme says, right? One is innovation and digitization and Gen AI. But before that, I probably kind of give a bit of a background. I think everyone knows this. I think probably I've shown this last year as well. The global trade value shift, 4.6 trillion. That is, I think, a big game. India is going to capture how much? Everyone knows this. 5%, 10%? Any guess? 4.6 trillion global trade value shift is going to happen. India is going to capture 20% of that. That's a game plan, right? I think that's a game plan where how do we kind of shift the complete global value trade shift over the next 5 years? That's going to be a super awesome, right? Every company is now getting ready, massively getting into globalization, massively getting into a shift in the supply chain. That's going to happen, right? Now, I told you like 1 trillion, which is 20%, is a great opportunity for India as a small country going to capture this. Now, a small question to all of you, right? Which industry is going to be in the top? I didn't say the number here. Any guess which is in the top? Auto. That's it. And we are on the day for the auto, right? So, I think that's a game plan, friends. I think it's going to be like awesome. I think probably 2023 we said. It's a global conviction is India's century. 2024, actually, people said, let's create a playbook. Yes. How much will be? Yeah, okay. So let me not comment China here. I think let's discuss offline. being in the dais, I don't want to comment anything. I'm going to cover a few things as well, but we'll discuss offline. Not to kind of bring the China element here, which is sensitive. I'm sorry. Don't take otherwise. Yeah, we'll discuss offline for sure. Yeah, I think that's a good point. How the competition look like and how we're going to catch it up is also very important. Spot on, you are very spot on. How do you kind of gear this up is important, right? So, stepping back, sorry to not to answer your question, but I think I'll come back and then discuss offline. Now, very clear. This is like going to be a fabulous setup. Auto is going to be like a full moon, while other industries is going to kind of catch up, be it electrical equipment, medical devices, and so on and so forth, right? Driven by multiple ways, right? It is either driven by your labor cost arbitrage or your intensive manufacturing process and so on and so forth, right? One section is, yes, obviously this is like a fabulous news. There are a lot of startups, a lot of investors are also coming up. And the same number for you, what you see now, if you see the similar number for yourself from a startup and investor, right? So look at the left-hand side, yes. Ultimately, you don't see the slides here. Oh, okay. Oh, I thought it's coming along. My bad, I'm really sorry. It's just cut off now? Or from the beginning not?
No, we didn't see at all.
Oh, okay. Somebody can help the IT. You will connect the screens, but it's not connected. My bad, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. Okay, then I'll probably replay it very quickly. So 4.6 trillion is the overall game plan. India is going to capture like 1 trillion, so like 20%, right? So that's a game plan in terms of the overall setup. So that's a game plan, right? So which we discussed, and there are multiple industries going to kind of capture this 1 trillion. Obviously, somebody already answered. Auto is in the top, and a few other industries are also catching it up. Medical devices, electrical equipment, and so on. So what you see in the last column is the moon, which is going to capture this 1 trillion opportunity. Which industry is going to capture it? I think that's where I think the greatest game plan for the auto, right? So this is a great topic for all of us. At the same time, this is also a very enriching setup. One is, look at your startup, electronics, auto. Yes, it is in the top. At least in the top 3, the sectors actually that founders and investors are also most optimistic is auto. Very clear, right? From a startup viewpoint of view, from an investor's point of view, that is there in the game plan. Okay, so I think it's I think the right momentum to have this automotive supply chain to kind of understand what's happening in the world, to understand what's moving in the world is very important, right? Now I think let's switch gears. This is India view. Let's switch gears. Let's get into the global view. Okay, I want to kind of give a global view. I think look at a comparison, which is your top OEMs in 2010 versus the top OEM in 2023, right? So since 2010, if you see, only 2 entrants, right? So 2 entrants with actually like mostly stable top 15, right? Tesla and BYD kind of entered as a 2 entrants, right? Otherwise, if you see from the overall setup point of view, like last 15 years, this is a kind of a status, right? So major players are actually being consistent. They really wanted to grow. The growth is important. Innovations is on the go. Try to bring the powered service. That way, I think people are really catching up on the growth. That is very clear, right? And there are a few new entrants coming along with the double-digit growth. I think that's also a great element where with the different product portfolio, right? So that's a game plan, friends, right? So this is the clear element where the leaders are actually leading, and then the followers are actually kind of following. But the leaders are actually catching up the game. That way, I think it's so competitive, and we need to be super competitive to kind of go in the top. That is point number 1. And the other point which I want to kind of indicate, right, how the auto industry itself find the significant contributions. If you look at the last 3-4 years, I want to kind of give a sense, right? I think most of you know this, but I want to kind of summarize this version for all of you, right? If you see in the last few years, yeah, the technology point of view, yes, we are moving into a ZEV. Yeah, that is very clear from the ICE point of view. At least the growth is happening very well, number 1. Number 2, how do you look at software differentiation? Can we actually bring a software as a differentiation in our entire setup? I think that's where the AI can play a vital role. That's where the digitization can play a vital role. That is very important. How we can bring the software differentiation from the hardware part is very critical, right? That is where many software content per vehicle is actually increasing in the last, I would say, like 7-8 years, right? And move from a global trade to a perfectionism. That is also very important shift which is happening today. How we can look at this is important. That is from a geoeconomics point of view. The last portion which is very critical to kind of touch is overall industry itself, right? From a very, very well-established supply chain in terms of the overall value chain, how we can get into a new ecosystems, right? So that's why the ecosystem is very important, where the if you look at the 37% of the vehicle value splits, from battery. I think that's evolving. Mr. Aish also was indicating in terms of the proportion, but these are some of the significant transformation happening in the overall industry, right? Let's probably see what are the bit of a risk and bit of a element of trends happening in overall setup, right? So obviously the industry is becoming more regional. That is one of the element which is happening. Number 2, how we can also think through the localization of the data. That is also one of the trend happening within the auto element. The third element is how we can look at the restriction on access to the technology. That is like semicon and so on and so forth. There is also a bit of a trend and risk which is evolving today. The raw material access, that is also like being impacted by a geopolitical element. That is one other element we have to kind of step back and think. And how do you think through from a weaponization of the AV technology? That is also a critical area. So these are some of the areas where bit of a trend, which is risk we need to keep in mind, and then we can move on, right? I'm going to share some of the thoughts for the next 5-6 minutes. Those thoughts are 3 different thoughts. Some are very clear, clarity. Some are actually hypothesis. Pardon me, hypothesis or hypothesis. Some are true uncertainty. So, invitation to share your perspectives, because this industry is evolving. Some of the thoughts are evolving. So let me quickly share maybe like each section 2-minute level, right? So innovation. Innovation is one of the biggest area. I think many innovation in the overall manufacturing and supply chain point of view. I want to kind of bring 1 or 2 innovations which is evolving today, and everyone actually wanted to understand much more how we can look at from a manufacturing point of view, right? How the current way of assembling the vehicles, right? We actually kind of, I think you get to know what I'm going to talk, right? What I'm going to talk, you get to know definitely. But the current way of assembling is how we can actually look at to bring innovation, and that's where Tesla actually bring the unbox process, right? The Tesla's unbox process is something where how we can actually do a manufacturing in a very, very faster, flexible way, right? So what we do, we generally do a simple way of assembling the product, which is like the straight line where I have a lot of buffer, right? We actually bring the components, then paint them, then remove the doors, then I think again do the assembling of it. This is a very traditional, but I think that's where this is evolving in a very different way. How we can do a unboxing this entire manufacturing process in an effective way. I think that's where Tesla actually has brought in an innovation in the manufacturing process itself, right? And that's not only overall cost reduction, even the footprint what you require for your assembly is going to reduce, right? And you actually also bring the density improvement of the operator within the machine also is going to be improved. And at the same time, how we can actually look at the space time efficiency. So these are some of the elements which is evolving. How this is happening? This is more of I actually kind of bring the parts and paint them. Then actually I kind of bring in a circular way, the modular way. Then actually I kind of do the complete setup. I think this is where the innovations are evolving. Why I'm saying innovations? Innovations are very important before you think about any digitization, right? And be it a product innovation, manufacturing process innovation, or be it the supply chain process innovation, it can be like a IoT element which comes in logistics or warehousing, but that's a game plan. While the world is moving the innovation in different dimensions, we also have to think through before we digitize ourselves. Let's fix the process and digitize. That is the first point, right? Please go and actually understand more about this. Many of you know about the unbox process of the Tesla, but this is like the game plan which is happening in this industry, number 1. Number 2, quickly, digitization as an overall element, right? The moment I say autonomous driving, the point is, hey, is it global? I think it's happening in India. I think if you see Western versus China, now I bring China. So the Western countries, Western consumer, they are actually kind of very, very open. They're open in terms of how the autonomous driving kind of looking at in terms of, but there are a bit of declining happens in Western countries. So compared to 2021, 2022, 3, there is a bit of decline happens in Western, right? So they have seen this in the 2021. They've seen this in an important big way of moving, but it's a bit of a declining in the Western. But Chinese consumer have more interest. How we can actually think through autonomous in a more way, right? So how this is happening? Let's step back and think through in different phases, right? When we think about autonomous driving, it's in different phases, friends. Not about the complete full automation, right? Not about full automation. It's about how we can think through from a level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. I think that's where some of the conditional automations actually make sense. Some of the partial automation makes sense. It's almost like a level 2, level 3, that makes sense. A lot of people are actually getting to level 3 as well. So applications are evolving today. And many people actually wanted this importance as well. That's the game plan. So when you think about digitization of the ecosystem, this is almost in your entire product portfolio itself. And if you look at, yes, customer is willing, right? Customer is willing globally. we probably get a India sense. We are doing a research on India. Customers willing globally to switch brand for better, the ADAS feature, which is like the driver-assisted features, right? I think that's evolving a lot in our India as well now, right? So I think need not be a L5, it can be L2, L3, where and what is the game plan? There is a 2x willingness happening globally. There is a 1.5 willingness happening for switching the brand. So that way I think it's an important area to kind of think through. I know the question is, at an overall CEO level, there are a few questions. What is acceptance of the driving? That question is there. We need to kind of problem solve that. This can be a theme for the next year, right? We problem solve this and we look at some of the consideration, problem solve this. How the OEM actually best positioned to ensure the safety and differentiation element. That is also another question to kind of answer. The third question is how we can look at the open source in autonomous driving and how this is an opportunity to deliver the AV technology faster and focus on the differentiated offerings to different customers. Which industry, what is happening. These questions has to be deliberated. That's why I said clarity, hypothesis, and true uncertainty, right? And I'm not actually giving a full clarity answer. I'm actually giving hypothesis also in the room. Let's actually problem solve. Last 1 minute, we touched about the digitization. We cannot actually end the session without touching the AI and Gen AI part, right? This is evolving, friends. This is very clear. This is evolving. Top industry automotive players are actually figuring out how they can leverage AI, Gen AI. That's evolving. That is for sure, right? 100% of the top 20 OEMs worldwide using Gen AI use cases. Very clear, right? So the people you have seen, they're in the top. Yes, they are understanding, leveraging, moving the needle. Very clear. Almost less than 10% of the employees in automotive Gen AI applications use the day-to-day routines. In terms of process, in terms of product, in terms of any other element. Yes, that is actually at least 10% of the people have started using from a people level, right? At least 50% of the organization are actually using Gen AI from a report point of view, logistics contracting point of view, or a procurement contracting point of view, from a generative design point of view. That is actually very well happening, right? So maybe a minute level, what are the ways in which people can think? People can think in terms of 4 different ways. One is conversations, right? How we can improve conversations, how we can use Gen AI to improve conversation, that is one element. Second is synthesis of the content, the contracting content, or your generative design content. How we can synthesize the content. There Gen AI play a vital role, for sure. How do we generate content? Can I create a RFP itself? Can I create the complete manual itself? Can we do that? That's where I think the Gen AI can be very useful in terms of generating the content. And how do we kind of improvise the coding, the software coding, or the 3D generation coding? That's where many companies are actually embarking the journey, right? Many applications I don't want to discuss. There are a lot of action story happening today. I probably share offline. There are action story happening from a conversation. One example where how we can co-pilot the service technicians throughout their work day, right? How we can actually think through, we can actually have a completely the technicians enabled by the Gen AI. That is actually conversation actually is, improves a lot. Second, content generation, especially from a generative design of a product, that is also evolving a lot, very clear. And how we can look at the original design, from original design, how we can create a Gen AI design in a faster way. The speed is the key. The speed is the key, right? If we take a X amount of day, can we do it in a 20% of the X amount of day? I think that's where the content generation is so powerful. And huge number of applications evolving in auto industry using Gen AI. From the cabin of the vehicle, from the manufacturing, from the R&D, from the sales and marketing, across the areas which is happening, right? Be it EV range applications, be it a new material development, as I was telling. So these are actually areas which is really happening well. So these 3 themes are very clear, friends, and we are going to debate, as I mentioned, 3 things, right? Clarity, hypothesis, true uncertainty. Let's keep honest. Some answers are true uncertainty, which we will not answer. Some answers are hypothesis. We'll keep it and then move the needle. Some are very clear. Let's actually catch up the needle there, right? So that's where I think let's keep clarity, hypothesis, and true uncertainty. With that, we can move the needle, right? So the last 10 seconds, what type of organization are you aiming to? I think you need to decide. You want to be a full vertical integrator, you want to be a technology leader, you want to be a luxury market, front runner, you want to be a regional specialist. This is your choice to kind of figure out how we can actually move the needle. So there are different business operating model to kind of decide which kind of 3 element can be think through, and that is in your hands. So with this, all the very best to CI for the Automotive Supply Chain 19th edition. Looking forward for much more edition. And utilize this opportunity, as Mr. Rajesh was telling, in terms of networking, in terms of getting the answer for a two uncertainty hypothesis. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Nice of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ganesh. That was very insightful, covering innovation, digitization, and AI all at one go. I think for me, this was a masterclass and a bridge version, what I compare as maybe the in-shots version for the younger generation. So thank you for that class. Thank you. Now, may I request Mr. Kanolkar to walk us through.
Good morning, respected dais, Mr. Bhatia. Thanks for a great introduction and emphasizing that I'm in wearing a very difficult shoes. Thank Ganesh. As usual practice, and all you know that how McKinsey puts up data and shows how difficult is the future, and and we are all taking a note of it and start working because we are working with you all. So thank you very much. And very warm welcome to all distinguished participants, thought leaders, stakeholders joining us today. The automotive industry is evolving at an unprecedented pace, and the supply chain resilience has never been more critical. As we embrace on electrification, as Mr. Bhatia said, a digital transformation and a new mobility models, a collaboration will be the key in navigating these changes successfully. Though to dwell more on this, let's understand the macroeconomics and its alliance with the manufacturing industry of our country, which I hope will guide us is in the session to follow. So let's talk about what's economic mood swing. Here on a lighter mode, our beloved customer is asking for a push to the swing as he's waiting for a job growth. On other hand, the business owner is waiting for the customer to give him a push before he creates a job. You know the dilemma? And this cycle continues. Let's speak in how our macroeconomics is looking. The macroeconomics is a difficult subject, so I'm not an economist. Two economists will have a different opinion at the same time. The PFC, the private financial consumption expenditure, is spending by the customer, which exclude the government spending and the capex spent by the companies, which is about 62% of our GDP, and is estimated to be the highest in 2 decades. Generally, it is used to be hovering around 56 to 57%. The rural demand is also bouncing back with a good kharif crop. You can see about 79% of the rural households reported an increase in their consumption expenditure during this last year. And upcoming Rabi season is expected to be a good. Let's talk about urban demand. The urban demand has a mixed trends. As the Ganesh has talked about, and you have seen the overall passenger vehicles growth has yet to see some excitement. FMCG has seen a moderate growth, and real estates are also not doing any different. And my view is that let's wait for a couple of quarters to see how the economy is moving. This is a cyclic shift or it's a more structural. So as we see in the all the data what is showing that there is a low single-digit growth for auto sales in 2025. So what is prompting these companies to be cautious in this year? Especially we see the auto business, as per the SAM, urban market will see a blip, but rural has already started picking up. And RBI has forecasted that GDP about 6.7% for F26. The consumption pattern will improve due to the recent income tax benefits, as all you are aware about. It's a very good initiative. And this will help in a better utilization of the capacities as we move forward. So Vikasit Bharat aspiration needs several long-term measures, and you have seen that Vikasit Bharat 2047 rollout. As per Niti Aayog, there will be, by 2047, will be touching about $30 trillion economy. And this needs a major intervention as we see, like the manufacturing will be leading the growth, the regulation will be eased out, about 78 lakh jobs needs to be created annually until 2030. Infra and upskilling needs investments. Rural areas needs development, and underlining with a strong base of sustainable technology development or advancement. So what's this Vikasit Bharat and manufacturing, how they go together? So as I spoke about the Niti Aayog's vision to be a 13 trillion economy by 2047, a 15 lakh annual income is what we envisage per annum by 2047. Manufacturing sector is going to lead the baton with 25% growth, which is 16 times in 20 years, next 22 years. Exports will grow by 11x to support this level of manufacturing growth. And this shift indicates a move towards manufacturing-led exports rather than slowly relying on service-based exports. So the goal is to able to make in India, for India, and the world. So this is emphasizing on a competitiveness in the global market. So this is not a target, but necessity. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Enjoy your day.
Thank you, Mr. Kanolkar. That was short and sweet. Some key takeaways for me personally, and that kind of built upon what Dr. Ganesh also said. The share of India's share in global trade. You mentioned it has to increase from 46 to about 20%. You mentioned 11x, 4.6 trillion to 20% growth. You said 11x growth. There were also very subtle messages for a lot of people here in his presentation. Yeah? But I will want to go back to the first slide that you put. Yeah? I think Mahindra should not be complaining about demand. You're in a good space, right? So congratulations on that. Second,
He's saying, learn how, not get into that.
And second, I think very clear messages for a lot of us policymakers. He mentioned that the deregulation is required, investment, skilling, for the academia. Well noted. And I think it's obvious to us, all of us, that it's no longer an option for us to move forward. It is necessary if we need to achieve a better future for ourselves and our future generations. So thank you, Dr. Kanolkar, or Mr. Kanolkar, sorry. And then final session for the final address for this session, which is I'll invite Mr. Shailesh Rajput to talk us through Pune industry scenarios, policy and initiatives. While I was standing there, I said, his job is not easy. You just saw the challenge that Mr. Kanolkar has thrown at the policy maker in Mr. Rajput. He also has to take care of different things, not just how to get investments, provide the infrastructure, but also talk about ease of doing business. So to walk us through many of the initiatives that the government is taking, Over to you, Doctor.
Okay. Thank you, Bhatia sir. So, good morning to you all the esteemed guests on the dais. Earlier guests have given a nice information. And first of all, I would like to thank to CII to invite me here, because as a government department, as an industry department, it is our prime duty to disseminate all the policies and initiatives by the government among the entrepreneur. So it is a great opportunity for us, for me even, to introduce our policies or initiatives. What are the facilities from the government side, from the state government as well as from the government of India, central government. So as you know that Maharashtra is a leading state as far as industrial development is concerned. There are the different policies, the government is initiating policies since 1964 for the industrial development. Presently we are having an industrial policy that is 2019, and that policy is also over, and new policy we are introducing. Therefore, we are taking this opportunity from the different associations, from the different forums, to have a feedback. What are the correct facilities required for boosting of or fostering the industrial development in the state? So I may request to organizer, ma'am, to have a summarized feedback from this today's session, today's whole day workshop, so that we can take all this feedback to our state authorities, because new industrial policies in the pipeline, that is industrial policy 2025, and that will suffice the purpose for the definitely industrial development. Presently, we are having an industrial policy 2019 for the manufacturing sector, for all the sectors, in which we are disseminating the incentives for the MSME as well as large enterprises. Of course, mega, ultra mega category, we are newly introduced. Sectoral policies are also there, that is information technology policy, biotechnology policy, textile policy. These are the sectoral specific policies. For the manufacturing policy, particularly for the automotive sector, if we'll see, we are disseminating the incentives in terms of stamp duty exemption or interest subsidy or power tariff subsidy, GST refund for the MSME sector. And for the large enterprises and mega units, particularly having more investment, we are having a GST, that is a prime incentives in terms of refund scheme. So by taking these incentives, most of the units have started their business, because if you are seeing in the Pune district itself, as all of us, we are knowing that Pune is a industrial capital of the state, and round about 2 lakh MSMEs are registered in the Pune district. So you can just imagine what is the industrial concentration for the Pune district, and of course in the Pune region, because all Pune region districts are industrially concentrated districts, and all are from the automotive sector, particularly Pune, Satara, Kolhapur, and Ahmednagar. So for industrial development point of view, government is taking much more initiative, particularly state government, and I must take this opportunity that we are having a different cell to facilitate the manufacturing as well as service sector. That is a Maitri, Maharashtra Agriculture and Trade Industrial Facilitation Cell. We have just launched, state government launched a portal, online portal for disseminating the services of the 25 department. And 81 services are at a glance we are giving one common application form. One entrepreneur is not supposed to go door to door to different department. Single common application form he is supposed to have through the portal, and he will able to get those services within the time frame, because in terms of the act, that is a Maitri Act, the Maharashtra is the first state which is having a act, such type of act, to facilitate the services among the industries, MSMEs as well as large enterprises. Regarding the infrastructure development, if you will see, in the Pune, we are having a different industrial areas, different MRDCs, that is a Chakan, Ranjangaon, Bhosri, Pimpri Chinchwad, Talegaon, and in different phases now coming, expansions are also coming in the Chakan, that is a phase 5, Talegaon, that is also phase 5, Ranjangaon, that is a phase 3. Some more acquisitions are also coming out in the Shirur blocks also. So as per the requirement and demand of the industries, manufacturing enterprises, manufacturing industries, government is also boosting for the industrial development. That is a land bank. Land bank is a major concern before the government, and we are just sorting out these issues very soon. Secondly, for the infrastructure development for the MSME sector, if we'll see, we are having a critical infrastructure for the some private industrial area or the private industrial estate. Those are not having the basic infrastructure facilities. The government is giving a grant in aid up to 75% to 80% of the project cost. That is definitely suffice the purpose to boost up the MSMEs in the rural part of the area, rural part of the district. Secondly, we are having the different cluster development program. Cluster approach already we have introduced since 2008. Earlier it was a central government scheme, that is a MSC CDP, that is a micro small enterprises cluster development program. But state government also came to know the importance of the scheme. Therefore, state government also started the new state industrial cluster development program since 2015. Therefore, there are the 2 cluster development program, and in the Pune region, it is happy to share that 64 clusters we have already make the functional, and it will be definitely have a different revolution among the micro and small enterprises. Delayed payment is also an issue among the micro and small MSME sectors. We are having a online portal for this, and we are running a quasi-judicial status court for this online, for this delayed payment, and within the 90 days we are supposed to dispose of the cases. It is also happy to state that MSCFC, that is a Micro Small Facilitation Council, that is a cell, at national level for the 2024, we have received the Excellence Award for disposal of the cases within the time frame. That is also an achievement from the government side. Third one is the ease of doing business. I have already covered that one. For cluster development, we are also having now service sector. It was already earlier in the manufacturing sector, but now we are introducing the service sector also for the cluster development. For the service enterprises, if they are coming together and they want the common facilities, common mobility for enhancing their services, their activities, the government is also very eager to give the facilities, because in the cluster development we are giving 70 to 80% grant in aid for the project cost that the project, or whatever the common facilities they want to introduce. Therefore, from the government side, all sort of incentives, all sort of facilities are there. Particularly this, I just earlier said that Maitri 2.0 portal, because it is a very revolutionary decision that the state government has taken. And 25 departments are coming under one roof. The line departments, for example, electricity department, labor department, dish department, MIDC, industry department, even collectorate for the NA permission and all these things. NA permissions are not required for the non-MIDC area nowadays. Therefore, a big hurdle is removed for development of the industries, for the manufacturing industries. So there are holistic, in the holistic way, we are delivering the services for the industries. I may request to all the new entrepreneurs as well as existing industries to take the advantage of this Maitri 2.0 portal, because it is just an online portal. Earlier it was offline, therefore there are some hassles, but there is no hassle from the last month point of view, and lot of investors are taking the advantage of this portal and taking the services of the through of the department within the time frame. Because, and secondly, chat GPT facility also we have introduced in this Maitri portal. Whatever query you are having for the investment or the incentive purpose, you will get immediately reply within a second. That is a big achievement, I can say, from the government point of view. And state government is always eager for the investment or boosting of the investment. In the last Davos, we are having a 15 lakh crore MOUs we have signed, state government has signed. Last but not least, we are having a export policy, separate. We are not mixing any policy for industrial policy and any other sector-specific policies, different export policy, because for the export only central government was supposed to take the call for export-oriented unit. From the last year, we are having a Maharashtra export policy in which we are giving a different scale of benefit, additional benefit for the export-oriented units. There are two parts, that is export-oriented industrial park and outside export-oriented industrial parks. In export-oriented industrial parks, some additional benefits are there. For the large enterprises, in the general policy, interest subsidy, stamp duty exemption, power tariff subsidy, these are not the incentives which are covered. But for the export-oriented units, these incentives, these additional incentives for the large enterprises we have covered. That is the biggest advantage for the export-oriented units. What is the definition? Only 50% of the export for that financial year, if it is there, we are treating it as a export-oriented unit. Maharashtra is the second largest export hub of the country, and Pune is the second largest. First one is the Mumbai and second one is the Pune. So in the last year, we have exported 1 lakh crore. That is it is of course the figure of the government of India. This is not the figure of anybody. The authentic figures are there. And the line department, including the central government, that is a custom and all these things, we are also taken into consideration, because there are some concern from the central government department also. And for the enhancing the export, like ease of doing business, ease of doing export also we have introduced. Therefore, one who want to export the products, one who want to export the services, they are definitely take the this advantage of this policy. I once again thank you. I will not take much more because you have given me 10 minutes for time. So I have tried to cover all the facilities and incentives and what are the working method of the department, industry department. So thank you very much to invite me here. Once again, thank you.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Mr. Rajput, for a very insightful session covering the different facets of policy making, starting from the incentives that are being given to the industry, the enablers that are being put in place, and congratulations on being recognized for excellence in the MSC Council for wrapping up cases, the highest number of cases within the stipulated time period of 90 days. We also learned about the ease of doing business through the Maitri portal, where 25 departments come together for taking care of 81 services, a single clearance window, so to speak. And then finally, a common theme across all the participants or the speakers today is exports. So as policymakers, the focus is not just about growth, but also at each aspect of our growth. So with that, it's a wrap for the inaugural session. I will take this opportunity to thank my fellow panel members. Mr. Rajput, thank you. Mr. Kanolkar, thank you. Dr. Ganesh and Dr. Bhanuwati, thank you for having us. I would also be remiss if I did not acknowledge and thank our sponsors for the day, starting with our very own TVS. So thank you, TVS. Thank you, Horizon Industrial Parks. Thank you, Safe Express. Thank you, DP World. Thank you, V Express. Thank you, Total Group. And thank you, Om Logistics. Thank you to all the audience members as well for your attention. Some questions were attempted, but that's the beauty of having an inaugural address, that we retain the liberty of saying no. But there will be follow-up sessions, and there will be opportunities in plenty for asking questions and getting some answers. Outside of that, during the network sessions, I suspect there will be someone reaching out for Dr. Ganesh. And I also want to thank the staff here for facilitating this discussion. As a reminder, we take a 20-minute break, or let's make it a 25-minute break. And we are back by 11:40, if that's okay with everyone. Thank you very much. I wish everyone a very productive day ahead. Thank you.